Hello everyone, welcome to the Enthu English Podcast. I'm Claudia Woyas, your Enthu English Coach, and thank you for tuning in to episode 23. Today's episode is going to be a bit different from the usual. I've been teaching English with chunks for a long time, and today I've got a hand-picked selection of practical sentence chunks for you. Yes, that's right. These are chunks that form complete sentences and not just phrases or expressions that you're most familiar with at this point of your learning with me. And now, why this selection? I chose these chunks because they're super universal and can really help you sound more fluent and spontaneous in English. And now let me tell you how I came across them. It happened while I was listening to real-life conversations and also from what I was lucky to pull from my own chats with other English speakers. In this episode, I'll walk you through 5 sentence chunks. There are extra 2 that you can use on the fly, so you don't have to fret about what to say and how to react in the moment, and also how to engage others in conversation and prompt them to speak. Yes, to encourage them to speak with you. I'm going to break down each one for you, giving you examples and scenarios to help you understand their use, and hopefully you'll be ready to test them immediately after listening to this episode. Here we go. Number 1. You might not know that, but. Number 2. It's back to school season, isn't it? 3. I want to start with the line that really stood out to me. 4. Certainly some are better than others. 5. Give us an idea of what you went through. And now 2 extra sentence chunks for you. Stay with me and find out what they are. So the first one, you might not know that, but imagine this scenario. You're discussing a recent event with a friend who hasn't been following the news, and you might say something along the lines, you might not know this, but there was a huge music festival downtown last weekend. Now, what is it for? Well, you can use it to introduce your idea, or this chunk helps you get started. And there's an extra bit. Imagine you're talking with a colleague about changes in the workplace, and you might say, oh, you might not know this, but the company just rolled out a new flexible work policy. Did you hear the news? Number 2, it's back to school season, isn't it? What could be the scenario? Well, imagine you're chatting with a colleague who has kids and you're both discussing the current time of year. Well, you might say something along the lines, it's back to school season, isn't it? I noticed the school supply aisles are completely stocked. How are your kids adjusting to the new classes? What is it for? Well, engage your audience, or it might serve as a small talk starting point. And there's an extra bit for you. Imagine you're talking with a neighbor about local activities, and you say something like this. It's festival season, isn't it? I've seen flyers about a few upcoming events around town. Are you planning to check out any of them? Number 3. I want to start with the line that really stood out to me. Now, the scenario could be you're giving feedback on the presentation or a piece of writing or a piece of something that you heard or listened to. And the example might be, I want to start with the line that really stood out to me. When you said, innovation is the key to progress, it really resonated with the whole message of your presentation. What is it for? It helps you get started. It shows you how to get started. It helps you direct your conversation. It helps you choose what you want to discuss next, sort of suggesting where to go in this conversation, so you're more in the driver's seat. And there's an extra bit for you. Imagine you're reviewing a draft of a report with a colleague, and you say, I want to start with this section that really stood out to me. Your analysis of the market trends was incredibly insightful for me and provided a clear direction for the recommendations. Number 4, certainly some were better than others. How could you use that? Well, maybe in a discussion, while discussing various products or services with a friend who's comparing options, you might say, we tried a few different brands of organic snacks last week. Certainly, some were better than others. The almond bars were great, but the veggie chips were a bit bland. What is it for? Well, respond to what has just been said or what you have just said to sort of add this extra bit of your thought. And here's something extra for you. Maybe you're evaluating various tech gadgets with a colleague or anything that involves considering options. And you say, we tested several smartwatches over the weekend. Certainly some offered more features than others. And then you might go with, what do you think about? Option A, B, C, and so on. Number 5, give us an idea of what you went through. So a possible scenario might be you're interviewing someone about their experience with a challenging project or life event. And you might say something along the lines, we've heard about the end result, but can you give us an idea of what you went through to get there? What were some of the biggest challenges you faced along the way? What is it for? Well, engage your audience. And you might use it after introducing your main thought to invite them to tell you more. And here's an extra bit. Imagine yourself saying, give me an idea of what you're hoping to achieve or what you're curious about, and I'll do my best to help you out. And this is my message. Give me an idea of what you're hoping to achieve or what you're curious about, and I'll do my best to help you out. These are my exact words because that's what I'm here for, to support you in your learning. So give an idea of what language goals you're hoping to achieve with me. 2 extra sentence chunks for you now. Number 6, what did you immediately do? Imagine the scenario where when you're discussing a quick decision someone had to make during a crisis or emergency. So you might say, when the power went out in the middle of your presentation, what did you immediately do? Did you have a backup plan or did you improvise on the spot? How did it go? What is it for? Show your curiosity, interest, and even to avoid staying silent and just helping the speaker continue and share more. An extra bit for you. Imagine discussing a sudden change in travel plans. When your flight was cancelled just before your big meeting, what did you immediately do? Number 7. Last but not least, you can see Jane is nodding vigorously here. Jane, come in. Of course, it's not about Jane walking into the room, this sort of come in. It's more of an invitation for her to speak. Right? Did you hear it? Let me say it again. You can see everyone. You see Jane is nodding vigorously here. Jane, come in. So imagine this scenario during a group discussion, or it can be a Zoom call. You're pointing out someone's agreement or contribution. And you might say, you can see Adam is nodding vigorously here. Adam, come in and please share your thoughts on this. What's your perspective on the approach we're discussing? What is it for? Just invite the other participant or to elaborate and contribute, to give them the space to share what they have in mind. An extra bit for you, during a group project meeting where members are discussing design ideas or any ideas, you might just say, you can see He, she is nodding vigorously here. Use this person's name. Come in and explain your vision for the design. What specific elements do you think will really bring our project to life? And here Jane or Adam might go, oh, thank you for giving me the space to share my vision. Well, first let me start with, and so she or he continues. That's a wrap for today's episode. We've delved into some handy sentence chunks today to help you communicate more effectively and confidently, because you have a rich arsenal of chunks at your fingertips. And whether you're discussing recent events, prompting or encouraging others to speak, or simply engaging in casual conversation, these chunks will be your go-to phrases, and trust me, there are many more that I have up my sleeve for you. Thank you for listening to episode 23 of the Enthu English Podcast. I'm Claudia Williams, and I hope you'll join me again for more language tips and insights in the next episode. Keep practicing and talk to you soon.